Welcome to episode 7 of my Pokemon Switch Lock series. If you are new to the channel, there is a playlist with all the prior episodes, plus a rules video so you can understand the general concept of this series. Make sure to like and subscribe as it's free and it helps out a ton, and now let's get started. This is actually the first episode in the entire series that I will be playing through DLC. This is something that I was looking forward to a lot since DLCs tend to have more content than the normal base game. But to do that, I had to endure the hell that was Pokemon Sword and Shield's post-game. I first took a trip to Leon's house to receive a gift Charmander. I already have a Charizard, so I cannot use this under the Nuzlocke rules, so I'll just put it in a separate PC box. He will never ever see the light of day again. And time to actually talk about the post-game story. Look, I have to be honest, I've always loved this series ever since I was a little bit of a baby, but even I have to agree with everybody else in the community that this post-game is just straight up awful. For your sake and mine, I'll just skip talking about the post-game entirely, as the only noteworthy things that happened about it were me catching Zacian and getting a gifted type of null at Rose Tower. Now to actually dig into the real meat and potatoes of this episode, which is the Isle of Armor DLC. The Pokemon Sword and Shield expansion pass brings a bunch of old returning Pokemon, features, as well as new content, and you too can access this for $30. Not sponsored, by the way. Right after arriving at the Isle, I am greeted by Clara, who wants us to stray away from the local dojo because I beat her swiftly in the battle. But it's not like it was my fault anyways, like seriously, who in their right mind has a Venipede and Galarian Slowpoke at level 60 and to not have them evolved? It's just a skill issue on her end and nothing more. Oh, so I find it funny how this animation of her is just doing this weird thing to her Pokeball with her finger. It's just downright unsettling. Who approved of this? After being told not to go to the dojo, it makes sense that I go to the dojo immediately after. Along the way, I encountered a Baniri in the Fields of Honor. I'd then spend the next 3 hours of my life going all over the Isle of Armor, hunting 151 Alolan Diglets. I did this because an NPC gives you a lot of gift Pokemon if you do so I collected them all because I love abusing the concept of multiple gift Pokemon. And to abuse the ever-living hell out of it, I did, getting almost every Alolan form except for Geodude and Grimer, because those are in this game. I also got a Litten with the hidden ability Intimidate, which is really good if you're a competitive player. This is a casual Nuzlocke, man, come on. Now, a lot of people would say that me having a lot of these Alolan forms should not be allowed because I have the Cantonian forms of those same species, but I already held a poll in my Discord server to see what people's thoughts on the matter were, and the majority voted that I can use them. After all, they have different typings, stats, moves, and abilities, therefore it should make sense. So now I can use both a ground-type Sandshrew as well as its Ice and Steel-type counterpart. After 3 hours of just hunting Diglets, I could actually progress through the story of the DLC. Arriving at the dojo, I meet Mustard, who welcomes me as a student in his dojo and requests to fight me. Wait, what does that Loki sound like? The do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Your phone ringing, your phone ringing.
Your phone ringing. Your phone ringing. Big boy, come pick up your phone.
Or was able to take quick care of Mienfoo and Shinx. Afterward, a horde of Galarian Slowpokes stole Clara's dojo uniform, so for our first mission, we go out to get it back. Along the way, I catch a Dunsparce in the soothing wetlands, and after beating all the Slowpoke, I give Clara her uniform that she never uses after the fact. Wait, what was the point in this? As a reward for clearing the first mission, I was gifted a Bulbasaur that I can't use because I already used Venusaur in this challenge. But hey, at least the Charmander isn't lowly anymore. Our next and second mission was to gather max shrooms to make Gigantamax soup. I encountered a few Pokemon while looking for these shrooms, such as Fungus in the Forest of Focus, Lillipup in the Training Lowlands, a Torkoal in Warm-Up Tunnel, and my 6th raid encounter for this game, Hedalil. In Warm-Up Tunnel, I found the stuff that feels Kanye West's Twitter rants. Clara interferes before I can gather them, wanting to fight for it. Although I wouldn't call it a fight because that would imply both sides tried, and clearly this girl didn't fight back. Back at the dojo, I used the shrooms to make G-Max soup. Instead of using it on Cinderace or Charizard to let them use their G-Max forms, I instead used it on my Pikachu to get rid of its G-Max form. Now it can transfer out of Sword and Shield because it could not otherwise if it still had its G-Max factor. For the third and final mission, I was tasked with fighting Clara one last time. I know for this fight, Clara cheats by throwing in toxic spikes on the floor, so I bought in Xenu the Eternatus to instantly absorb the spikes, rendering them useless. Xenu beat Clara's Scorpie, Galarian Weezing, and Rolipede. For Galarian Slowbro, I sold out its Dynamax with Scythe the Skizor, then finished the job with the Max Flutterby. As a reward, Mustard gives me a gift Pokemon, but it's not just any gift Pokemon. He gives me the legendary Cupfu, which I named Kogu. I'm tasked with training the little guy, which I do, getting my last 2 raid encounters, Manshao and Jellicent in the process. I also caught a Wingull in Loop Lagoon, a Whismur in Brawler's Cave, and a Roggenrola in Challenge Road, and finally a Sandile in Pop Bottom Desert. I then had to make a choice on what tower to challenge, as whatever Cupfu will evolve depends on which tower I choose. I chose the Tower of Darkness as Cupfu has a good type advantage against dark types, and this boiled down to just fighting a bunch of trainers, then Mustard in the end, which was a mirror match between Cupfus. Kogu was just built differently than Mustard's Cupfu, only taking 2 hits to knock it out. And that was the time to fight Mustard one last time. This is by far the scariest battle in the DLC, and frankly it shows. Grace was able to beat Miansha with 1 Draining Kiss. For Corviknight, I swapped into Cinderace to one-shot it with a Pyro Ball. I bought Grace back to Kamo-O, and we took a lot of damage, but I was able to drain it back to full health, taking out Kamo-O in the process. Also, do you remember the Fungus from earlier? Well, I trained it into an Amoonguss, and with the sole purpose of countering Lycanroc, and I just let it die to Luxray right after. This also activated Poison Point, which is really useful. Okay, Amoonguss is an amazing Pokemon, no doubt about it, but I did not have that many other options outside of Terrell the Shiftry, who would definitely die in this fight. Letting Amoonguss go like that was a necessary sacrifice, so sorry not sorry. Lapras was able to knock out Luxray, and in came the scariest Pokemon on Mustard's team, his Gigantamax Urshifu. I was stuck on what to do for 10 whole minutes before deciding to Dynamax my own Togekiss, and then I used the Max Airstream. Urshifu used a super effective Max Ooze, and we lived. Surprisingly. And it was way too close with Comfort too. Togekiss fired back with a Max Airstream that one-shot the G-Max Urshifu, winning me the battle. And just like that, the first half of the DLC is done. I'll grab up the last few Isle of Armor encounters and then play the Crowned Tundra DLC in the next episode, so be on the lookout for that. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed watching this episode, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe, as it's free and it helps out a ton. Also, join my Discord server to be a part of my lively community. Until next time, goodbye.